Despite all we know about how quickly disasters can happen and how devastating they can be to any business, the vast majority of companies still don't have a viable, properly tested disaster recovery plan. Does your company fall into this category? Hi, Drew here with Key Information Systems. Today, most companies find themselves stuck in one of two worlds in regards to their business applications and disaster recovery. On one hand, there are apps like Uber and Airbnb, which are built in the web scale world and designed to be completely and totally distributed. With these apps, there's no such thing as disaster recovery because there's nothing monolithic about what they are doing. The data is totally distributed, spread across a geography, and everything is always on, or what they call active-active. In a perfect world, this is the goal. But the problem with apps like these is that they are exceedingly difficult to execute, and they must be purpose-built. On the other hand, we have traditional legacy applications. These legacy applications are built for running in the data center or with traditional infrastructure, and take up about 90% plus of the total applications in use today. We have enough knowledge to know that a straight up lift and shift of everything on-premise to the cloud generally does not work for these applications because there are all kinds of differences in the architecture and way things are accessed. So in the hybrid world we live in, what do you do with all of these legacy applications? Which of them are most critical, and how would you recover them? The traditional train of thought was backups. This works at a relatively inexpensive cost for SMBs, but what do you do when you are too large for that? Many companies have to make a decision between two choices. You can sign a BCRS or DR type contract where you show up at a recovery data center to use standby equipment to restore your backups. This is totally acceptable if you need to check a box, but this recovery process could take days. The other way is through replication. With replication, you can send data in real or close to real time from one source to a target. The thing about this option is that the target side has to have the same amount of resources you use in production, essentially doubling your infrastructure cost and time it takes to maintain a disaster recovery insurance policy. This is the advantage that a company like KeyInfo can provide to you using our cloud and disaster recovery as a service. While cloud infrastructure is not necessarily cheaper than in-house infrastructure, it is something you can pay another company to run for you. For disaster recovery, what you are saying is that you are not in the DR business and you don't want to maintain equipment. You'd rather send a disaster recovery provider a copy of your data and have them bring it up when you need it. So why would disaster recovery as a service work in your favor? The benefits that a DR service provider brings in this hybrid type model is that they can replicate those legacy applications on both the target and production side, no matter the type of environment. It may seem like a small detail, but this matters for these type of applications that don't run well or at all in a public environment. Another benefit of using KeyInfo for your disaster recovery needs is that we cover all the bases in the context of DR. It can be something as simple as a discussion on architecture, or as fully featured as us doing staff interviews, writing a business impact analysis, and creating a runbook. That is the thing about disaster recovery as a service. When you are paying a company that specializes in it, you are relying on their expertise to force a certain discipline in your organization to ensure that everything stays in line. It is an ongoing relationship, not just a second copy of your data somewhere else. It is a strategy on how to recover. So why choose KeyInfo? We run the gamut of disaster recovery options. If you want to ship equipment on-site for center-based recovery, we can do that. If you want to do real-time replication where the data is available and all there, we can do that. If you want to restore from a copy of backups, we can do that. Not all of these solutions are mutually exclusive to one another. It can be a matter of prioritization. You may have some Tier 3 applications that do not need to be recovered quickly, which is where something like our sister company Rescue's Quick Ship service would come into play. You tell us the makeup of the infrastructure you need, and in the event of a disaster, we'll go ahead and procure that gear and get it sent out to you. For Tier 2 applications, you may choose to restore from backups, and for Tier 1, you may even choose replication. Having this wide berth of services available, in addition to being able to provide assistance with everything, makes KeyInfo a leader in the field. What separates us from our competitors is being able to work with clients that have different requirements while being their one-stop shop for recovery, including providing consultancy throughout the process. Lastly, KeyInfo is a premier resale partner of companies like IBM, Cisco, and HPE, meaning our engineers understand and work on the equipment that is on site. We are able to accommodate MPLS, VPN, SD-WAN, or any combination of things, allowing us to be very flexible in how we allow our clients to connect to us. To learn more about KeyInfo and our disaster recovery as a service, please visit www.keyinfo.com/keycloud-disaster-recovery.